Here, good afternoon. On Friday, April 12th, the FDNY E-Safety Task Force, made up of the Bureau of Fire Prevention, our Special Investigations Unit, and Fire Investigations, conducted an inspection at 1239 Flatbush Avenue. This inspection was a follow-up to 3 previous visits to this site. This location had numerous violations from the FDNY and our partners at DCWP for selling e-bikes without UL certification, storing loose battery cells, storage of propane cylinders, and other fire code violations. Upon arrival on Friday, our inspectors found approximately 15 lithium-ion batteries and multiple e-bikes without proper certification for sale throughout their entire store. Our Bureau of Fire Prevention inspectors wrote many violations on our previous visits, and they had little or no compliance upon this latest visit. We spoke with the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office about this incident and felt that it met the charges of reckless endangerment. Fire Marshals arrested Tian Liang Liu and brought him to the 70th Precinct to be charged. We also issued a C summons for continuing to store and charge more than 5 lithium-ion batteries. As we have tragically seen, lithium-ion batteries, especially those that are uncertified, have the potential to explode and rapidly trap residents in a fire. This store was operating below residential apartments. Last year, as many of you remember, a similar store caught fire and killed 4 New Yorkers who lived above on Madison Avenue in Manhattan. Our Bureau of Fire Prevention and Bureau of Fire Investigation members did a great job on Friday, as they always do during their inspections and their operations. The safety of New Yorkers and our members is our top priority. Our FDNY Fire Marshals and the Bureau of Fire Prevention will continue to crack down on the sellers of these uncertified and dangerous devices, and we will continue to remind people of the dangers they can pose. This weekend, as an example, there were 5 fires involving lithium-ion batteries. There were 10 in the last week. The problem isn't going away, and I've been saying this repeatedly, they can be incredibly dangerous. If you use them, you must follow our safety tips, and where possible, please store and charge them outside. Questions?
Josh, you saw someone arrested for the first time. Do you foresee more arrests going forward?
I would say that if we find folks with a similar pattern where we've been there multiple times and they have recklessly ignored that, certainly so. We never want to see a small business go through that. I think we've done a ton of education over the last year. I think for most stores who are trying to operate legally and safely, they have come into compliance, but there are a few stores that have not, and if we continue to see that sort of reckless behavior that does kill New Yorkers, we will take similar action.
Go ahead.
Elaborate on what about this case made it rise to the level of having to go in there and make arrests?
Yes, I'd like the fire marshal to expand, but certainly on its face, it's the sheer number of times we've gone there and the sheer quantity and types of dangerous activity that they had going on site. As I mentioned, we've had deaths in this exact type of occupancy, right, where we had residential above, commercial below, and it's not a fireproof building. I'll let the marshals expand.
As the commissioner said, this is the 4th time we were there, and they've made no changes whatsoever to make their behavior better. So that's the reason why this rose to that level, where it required an arrest. If we go there 4 times and you're not going to take the steps, we told you that it was reckless, and you're not doing anything to change your ways, then you may be subject to arrest. My name is Dan Flynn, DANFLYNN. I'm the Chief Fire Marshal.
You know, I think I've said this before, there's a lot of money to be made here, right? I don't think we'd see people consistently circumventing our laws if there wasn't. So because of the amount of delivery workers, the amount of deliveries being made in the city of New York, we have to imagine that would be our main reason. I guess you could say we're guessing, but I don't know any other reason that people would continue to do such reckless behavior. In some cases, certainly we're not sure if people have known how dangerous this is, but I think you could argue at this point we've been very clear, and especially the places that we're targeting for this type of criminal summons, they certainly do know. So for those, I think it's just a matter of, they're making money, and so they're taking a risk, unfortunately.
Can you just describe what exactly you found there when you went in to arrest, and how it played out, and it's a
Yes.
And so what happened?
as we stated, okay, as we mentioned, this is the fourth time we're here since September. So we were there in September, and he was in violation of Local Law 39. We went back again in January, again in violation. We went back earlier this month, still in violation. We returned on Friday, and he's still engaged in the same dangerous activity there. When we got there, we noticed, as we mentioned, many batteries that were being stored unsafely. The same individual is at the store every time, and he's been served every time, and he's been made clearly aware that what he is doing is reckless. That's why we subjected him to arrest that day on Friday.
Where is this batteries? Also, are they all uncertified, or is someone certified and someone not?
Well, he was in violation of Local Law 39 several times, so that would be the uncertified batteries, yes.
Where are these coming from? And what do you do to make that stop?
So there's two places they can come from. The biggest one is overseas, mostly from China. That is why we've been going to Washington, D.C. So I just got back from there. I was there Friday. That is really the place where we can make this stop. They come into the ports in mass quantities. They are uncertified. They are then sold from there. It's very hard, even though they are illegal here in New York City, to stop them. It's very easy to go buy them in a nearby jurisdiction. I will also say any safe battery, once cracked open, is also uncertified and unsafe. And I think that's important for people to remember, is that something that's UL certified is certified upon the sealing of it at the manufacturer that's certifying it. So you can take a certified battery, it may have a UL sticker on it, but if you've cracked it open to do some sort of tampering, you've then made it just as unsafe as an uncertified battery.
Two very quick questions. One is, were these electric bike batteries or electric moped batteries?
Do we know? Electric bike.
And then the second is, I know this is the first arrest, but in terms of the civil summonses, how many have you done this year, so far this year, compared to say the same period last year? I don't know if you have that off.
Do we have it offhand?
Do you guys have
I don't have that off. I just have
We can follow up. Yeah.
Kimberly?
Couple questions. So do we have this special task force? I don't know jurisdiction already how it works. Do we focus on the courts?
On the ports? No, we don't have jurisdiction at the ports. That is the federal government, so that is why we are lobbying Congress. Definitely encourage everybody to call their Congress member. In fairness, Congress has made some progress here. They did vote it out of committee, and we are hopeful that it will come to a full vote. But really, when it comes to tackling these where they are coming in greatest quantity, that is where we need to tackle them. That is the federal government. So that is what we're talking to them about.
And second question, fire yesterday in
Rockaway Boulevard, please.
yes, that one. E-bike, lots of fire. How dangerous we know to people living above these places it can be.
Yep.
But also the firefighters can be.
Extremely dangerous. And one thing I will say that I've said a few times, it is not only dangerous when they are caused by the e-bike. So especially for our members who are often still in the apartment after they've rescued the civilians, if an e-bike catches on fire, it explodes in the same way that you've seen it explode when we've showed you these videos where they're the cause of the fire. So imagine being a firefighter crawling down a narrow hallway and behind you one of these explodes. You're now trapped in the apartment. So these are dangerous whether they are the cause of the fire or they are in the fire.
Yes, well, our main concern is the safety of the public and our firefighters. So that is why we have fire investigation and also fire prevention out doing these inspections to make sure that, these places are as safe as possible. If we have a fire, we respond as always, and our first objective is to search for life within the occupancy. It's a very dangerous situation, and we're well aware of it. But we are, coming up with new ways to, fight these fires, and we always make sure that we have, a charged hose line, and our firefighters are prepared to deal with just about any type of fire.
So because there have been so many, I'm seeing that you had to tweak your response and kind of come up with ways.
No, really, the changes that we've made are post-fire, where we have to call our hazmat unit to come, and they have to take these batteries and put them in overpacks so that they don't ignite again. That's really the main change. Our firefighting procedures remain the same, but we were always fighting fires aggressively and inside the area where the fire is. So it is a challenge, but we're doing good with it. John, John, Hodgens, Hodgens, Chief of Department.
Last question, Dean.
Yeah, I mean, I can't guess his motives, but certainly we find it incredibly disappointing. We think we have shown people how dangerous this is, right? That it's real life, that this is not some arbitrary regulation. New Yorkers have died because of these e-bikes and because of this specific activity of this reckless and illegal behavior. So I can't guess at his motives, but certainly we felt he had violated enough time that we needed to make a point. I would say we have seen many small businesses come into compliance over the last year. But what I would say, though, of those who are left, I would say sometimes we are seeing that they are more frequently flouting these laws. That is why they are still operating. Some do safely, though, and so I think that's fair to say. We do have some small businesses operating safely in the city, so it's possible. But certainly, as we go back to places that were once conducting illegal activity, we are seeing that if they're still open, many of them are still conducting it.
Thank you.
Very. Yes, very.
Just imagine that those batteries that they're selling illegally are much cheaper than the certified.
They may be now, but we actually know that UL certification only costs a few cents per device, so it's not actually a monetary issue to have your devices certified. The ones they are selling that might be cheap, maybe second, third hand, reused many times over, that might be why they're cheap. It's also why they're exceptionally dangerous.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Chief.
Yep. Thanks, guys.